Hey guys, welcome back to Adventures in Aviators, the best kept secret on the internet. Today we are back in the water as part of our snorkeling series in Mauritius. We are at Balaclava Beach Park. And as we always do in our videos here, we're going to break this down into 5 categories. Those are location, water access, water traffic, wildlife, and facilities. And we're going to rank those on our scale of 1 to 5 manta rays.
5 manta rays.
Alright, let's jump in. Where is Balaclava Beach Park? It is in the northwest part of Mauritius. It's only about 30 minutes from Grand Bay, but it is about an hour from Myborg in the southeast. And there's no easy way to get here from Le Morne in the southwest. It's about almost an hour and a half to get here from Le Morne. You can also follow signs for the Oberoi Resort. That'll get you really close. And as you see here, when you get to the T in the intersection here, you'll turn right and the water will be right there, and you have arrived at Balaclava. So because it's not too hard to find, it's pretty close to resorts in the north, I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 manta rays. Now, water access in most of Mauritius is pretty darn easy, but there is a little bit of a hang up here at Balaclava. It is a beach area, but right off the beach, as you'll see here in these pictures, you do have kind of this rock area that rises up out of the water and is quite shallow, if not exposed above the water line, and so you actually have to swim around it. So actually you're going to get in on the northern part of this beach and kind of swim around one of the few little gaps or where this ends so that you can get to the main snorkeling area. Now this is also where one of these many boats will often leave from as well, because they also need to escape this little protective barrier. And so you do need to be very careful of boat traffic, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But when it comes to water entry, you're going to find yourself a nice, simple beach entry, but you're going to have to find your way to the north part of the beach to get in. For that reason, I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 manta rays. So let's talk a little bit more about this water traffic. So we do definitely have lots of boats in this area. This is a really popular area for tourism. Boats of all sizes use this area. Now this isn't one of the most popular launch sites for tours, but it is certainly one that you will see plenty of people at. And by people, I mean boats. And so you can certainly have other snorkelers in this area. It's popular, but not super popular. There are resorts nearby. Both the Oberoi and the Beachcomber Resort are on either side of this beach. But your biggest concern here, and certainly with safety, comes from boaters, boat traffic. And they are typically looking for people, but not always. So make sure that you're wearing bright colored clothes here. If you have a float to carry and have nearby, I would definitely use that here. Because as you just see, the sheer number of boats in this area, and if you find yourself, again, starting to be mid-morning, I've said this in other videos, you know, anytime around 9 and on, you're going to get a lot of different boat traffic from all the different tours. So if you find yourself here, make sure you're visible, make sure that these boats see you, so that we don't have a dangerous situation. So because it is a reasonably popular snorkel destination and the boat traffic is extensive, I'm only going to give this 2 out of 5 manta rays. So for wildlife, once you get in the water here, you'll start seeing stuff right away. It is a very shallow area. This is all inside of the break. There's not really a clear way to get outside of the break. So this is all going to be quite shallow, a pretty good spot for your beginning snorkelers. That said, it does get very shallow depending on the time of day with the tides and how far you go out. Closer into shore, you'll find sandy patches where you can stand up if you need to, with lots of little coral heads all around. But as you get further out, you'll see tons and tons of this stag coral, which is really, really cool when you get very close to it. This will be a great time to remind you not to ever touch the coral. Coral is actually quite hard, and it's alive. It'll scrape you, and then you'll have a living thing inside of you, and that can often get infected. So make sure if you ever find yourself getting scraped by coral that you really, really scrub out any possible leftovers that have made their way inside of you, lest you risk infection. But you have just a huge plethora of this with all kinds of different, fish that are using this as a habitat. On this day, we saw trumpet fish, we saw little box fish, we saw some puffer fish, all kinds of different fish in this area. It does lack a little bit here for diversity. It's pretty much one type of coral and a handful of fish, but you do get an extensive amount of it. And again, if you are comfortable snorkeling in really shallow areas, I'm talking like a meter or less, then you can go for quite a distance here and explore around. But it does get a little bit repetitive in this area, but there's lots to see, and you can definitely go explore and see what you find in some of these holes. We saw cowrie and other things on this day. So this is a nice little area, not a ton of diversity, but certainly worth the experience. So I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 manta rays. Finally, we come to facilities, and while we do have nice parking here at the beach park, plenty of parking, There are not any bathrooms here. There are a couple of food stands that are open in the evenings. I will say that in the evenings, specifically Sunday night, this place will be hopping with locals. So, you know, as you get on to Sunday and especially on the weekends, this place does fill up with a lot of local folks. So just be ready for that. Some of the best times to go, of course, are early in the morning. Earlier you go, the better. But you're going to be without bathrooms or showers, anything like that. Just parking and some signage. So that's going to get us 3 out of 5 manta rays. So overall, Balaclava is a nice spot. It's well worth a trip if you're in the area, but it's not going to be your most exciting of snorkels, most likely. You're probably going to stay inside the reef here. And again, be mindful of the tides when you're planning to go out, because if it gets too low of a tide, you're actually going to have a real problem getting over some of these coral areas, and it will become dangerous. So be careful out there. Take care of one another. As always, leave this place cleaner than you found it, and we will see you next time.